Okay, coming from a little bit into the future here. I can't remember if any of the previous videos I mentioned doing anything on my dad's 68 Firebird, but you're gonna see that in this video, as well as some 57 convertible stuff. It's not fully finished yet, just because we've been waiting on some things, but you'll get to see more of what we've completed. And if you're new here, subscribe, and yeah, let's go ahead and get along with the video. All right, we left off. Told you guys we were gonna show a little bit about what we're doing on the 68 Firebird. So we're getting the distributor drop back in, and we got the carburetor pulled off. We're gonna swap it out to numbers matching to the other engine, but gonna get it swapped out to this guy. It's a fresh unit. We've ran it once before on the other engine, so we're gonna get the front fitting swapped out and get this thing bolted and hooked back up. And after we got the distributor dropped in, we're gonna fire this thing up, and we got a fresh set of plugs for it too. Just gapped the new spark plugs, and being that we put it's always had an electronic ignition on it, but got the new one on it. We gapped them 7 thousandths bigger, so we normally did them at 35, got them set at 42 thousandths, and got the new carburetor on, getting it all hooked up, and all we got to do is get the last bit of the bolts in to tighten her down, and we'll be good to go. All right, we got everything hooked up, so I'm getting ready to hop in the car, and I'm going to work the key and see if we can get this thing fired up.
Well, Dan.
All right, guys, more Firebird stuff. We had issues with this thing pretty much since day one. Intermittent ignition issues, and we put a couple different electronic ignitions in it, tried distributors, a couple different of our carburetors, and we come to the conclusion it was ignition. And these cars have a resistor wire from the ignition for your power source that goes to your coil, so you don't burn up points. So we were having this breakup issue, miss issue, so we tossed points back in this thing, and that way, kind of the process of elimination. We're not the best diagnosers in the world, but we got the points dropped back in it, and as you can tell, definitely the ignition. So that tells us that resistor wire is cutting voltage to the electronic ignition. That works great with the points, as you can very well hear. So we're hoping that resistor wire didn't damage the electronic ignition. So we're going to get that wire replaced, get stuff swapped back out, and hope we're good. If not, we'll have to buy another new ignition. Good morning, guys. Welcome back to another video up here at the shop, and figure I'd give you guys a little shop update real quick on the 57 and a couple other things. So here it is. He's pretty much got all the wiring done. The battery terminals need done, but we got it all done up in here. Jason got all this wired. We're gonna go back and loom it. Obviously we just have it in place loosely so we know exactly where things are gonna run, and we're gonna go through and loom it. And if you don't know, this is a 55/6 radiator. And I think I mentioned before, this is a 6-cylinder core support, being that the fan or the radiator's on this side, and had to run a fan extension to bring this closer. And then I think he's got like a little shroud to go up here. But on 57s, they came out over here, which then in turn, there's a little relief up in here for your radiator hose. Well, it doesn't have one down the center, and this is what he wants to run. So we're gonna have to fabricate a nice notch in that little hood brace that goes across there. You can see the marks where it was at. So other than that, it's pretty much done. Had our glass guy come in and get the glass all put in. So we're pretty stoked on that. And then we're waiting on some connectors so we can finish, so he can finish up the under dash wiring, and we can put the steering wheel on. And then all the trunk wiring's just about done as well. So just got a couple, you can see it, you can see the main harness there. So you just got a couple things left to run on it, and then this car is pretty much going to be done, at least with our portion. It'll go to the interior shop, and then hopefully when it's all finished, I'll do like a nice video over the car, maybe do another start to finish for everyone that didn't watch the other videos. And then we've got my dad's Firebird down here. So I'm gonna film some stuff on that and probably have it in its own video. And then we finally got all the parts for the 54 Corvette transmission. So that thing's finally ready to go back together. So that's ready to get knocked out so we can get back over and finish up the chassis and put the engine in it. So then there's the rest of it here, all the new gaskets and parts and pieces and such. It's already got the thing all painted and done up. Chassis is super dusty from sitting. But as you look in the older videos, I'll show it when I get to it. But the engine's all done and ready to go. There's the seats. The seats haven't been done yet because we're waiting on foam. That's just some old foam that the other owner had laying around, but it's not, as you can tell, it's all separated and nasty. And so we're waiting on some new foam, and then we'll be able to have the seats done. And I know you guys seen some stuff on the Opal, but we kind of took a big break on it from those older videos. But we should be getting back on that pretty soon. Some other stuff just took, priority over it since this other stuff was in here first. And we kind of took this on to, while we were waiting on other parts and whatnot. So, but anyway, that's just a little update for now. And I'll get back with you when I have more to film. Saw in that last clip, I had the thing running real smooth right after I got that electronic ignition in and put in and wired in and all that. It fired right up, revs clean, and unfortunately my little mount deal that I can mount on my suction cup mount is broke, so I couldn't film the drive on the way back to my parents' house, but ran great, super smooth, wasn't breaking up in the high RPM, so we should be ready to take that thing up and get it dyno tuned and dialed in. So that'll be another video in itself. That ought to be pretty cool. Other than that, we'll be getting the engine back, the other engine back over here to start making the engine mounts for this. So look forward to that, and probably the next video, I'll be filming stuff on that. And yeah, I wish I would have filmed more on the Firebird, but it ended up being, we thought we had the original resistor wire removed, but it was not eliminated from the harness. So that's what was deteriorating the voltage to the electronic ignition. So we got all that taken care of and figured out, which is why if back in the video I talked about us putting points back in to see if it fixed the issue, and it did, and we were able to track all that down. So, all right, another morning here at the shop, and I think I showed you guys in the last little update portion there that we got the windshield in on this thing. So I've got the hood on as well, obviously, and I'm ready to go through and start putting all the pretty stuff on it. So I've already got the new bullets assembled and ready to drop in and basically bolt in. He's got the new hood mustache piece, and I believe new front emblem in the V. I'm not 100% on that, so we'll know when I start digging through the new stuff. But that's pretty much it, and we'll be ready to, I think, bolt the hood latch up in there as well. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, table's kind of still organized for wiring stuff, but got all the bullets here, got the mustache piece, and I went through and put brand new stainless hardware on it. And there's our hood latch, script, and the hood V, which I think he might buy a new one, so we'll see. We'll go ahead and start getting all this stuff on and go from there. And worst case scenario, if I put this thing on and he wants a new one, you know, it's just a few speedy nuts away from rate changing. So let's go ahead and get to it. Guys, as you saw in the time lapse, we got everything buttoned up on the hood and got the latch on and got it working. Although one of the studs on that mustache bar is hitting the release for the hood release, so I gotta pop the hood back open because I'm struggling to get the hood popped back open. You can get it, but it's kind of a fight, so I need to trim that stud so you can pull the release lever all the way up. But figured I'd go ahead and show you guys what the thing looks like since you just watched me put all that crap on there, and show you what it looks like. Still got the tape on the bumpers on both sides because we're still messing with it a little bit because that bumper, the brackets were tweaked at one time and that's just all we had. But there's the bullets. Those always look good. And then there, I'll step back a little bit. And there's the front end. As you can tell, we're still finishing up the wiring process. We've been waiting on some certain clips and fasteners and connectors to come in that we need, which is why one of the fog light or the turn signals is out. So got a little bit of tweaking on the hood left to get it aligned perfectly, but it's good enough for now. But there she is. All right, guys. So I got the latch adjusted, and still needs a little bit of play. I can't get it to, well, I can get it to fully latch, but it's kind of hanging up on the back side of the latch. So we have a little bit of play to do, a little bit of playing with to do. But it does go to the first latch. Everything works real nice. And I think I went over this once already. It's hard to remember what I filmed. But this is a 55, 56 radiator, and it's a 6-cylinder core support, and it goes over the top right there, and it runs into the hood brace. And as you can see, we have the brace out of it. So what I am going to do is actually take this thing, remove it, and pretty much center it right here where we got the mark, and then weld a nice flat panel in there so it looks factory. So I'll kind of take you along the ride for this, show you what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, and pretty much go from there. I know you could easily just probably get another radiator. There's different ways you can tackle this, but he's already had this radiator and would rather not try to swap different deals out. So we're just gonna cut that, move it over, weld that up, call it done. So we'll go ahead and get on doing that. All right, just kind of have an idea in my head, and I'm kind of flying off the seat of my pants here just a little bit. So I think what I'm gonna do is I got it right to where it radiuses out flat, came straight up from there, followed that taper over. Same with this side, right to where it goes flat. So I'm basically gonna cut this section out, and that's what I'll use over here. So the section that I've cut out, I'll remove that, and then we'll make ourselves a replacement flat panel here and get that welded in. So then this will just be a nice filled in area. And then I'll be able to then in turn come over here, lay this shape on this section, and then cut out what I don't need and weld it in. And we'll have ourselves a factory looking notch, and we'll smooth it all out. And if I need to do a little bit of body work on it, I can, but probably won't need much at all. So we'll take you along and see how I make this little filler piece. Light always helps. Okay, now that I got this thing cut out, if you look, should be able to make this thing sit pretty close. So I might adjust this piece a little bit, trim it around the contour so I can kind of make it work, but or I may just go straight along there. I haven't fully decided yet, but first things first, I like where that's sitting, so I'm happy with that. So I think what I'm going to do is figure out what I want to make for here and then go from there, or I may end up going another route, but let me think about this for a second. I'll get back and tell you my game plan. Okay, thought about it for a minute, and lining this thing up right with the edge of my cut. As you can see, it overlaps this nice factory pressed dimpled area here, but just the overhang does. So I think what I'm going to do is cut right along here, flow up, and come right up in here to the top, and then I'll be able to trace this piece onto that and weld it in along there, and it'll look just like factory. But first and foremost, I'm going to make a piece to fit in here and weld this guy up first, and basically weld along here and then here and leave this open, since I'll have to cut all this stuff out, and then I'll be able to weld everything together. So we'll go ahead and get our piece made for here and get that patched in first. All right, got myself a piece of leftover steel there. Made myself a template, and we'll show you guys how I made this real quick. Basically just flipped over the piece I cut out, since I know this is what I need to fill, and got my edges cleaned up for when I weld it. And then this guy will sit right in there like that. And then I'll make my lower piece afterward, just because I don't have the means to make that nice radius. So I'll basically make my second piece after this one's welded in, and then weld along the outside, and then smooth my welds out to get my radius. So now that I got it transferred from my template over to my sheet metal here, we're over here on the stomp shear, and these things are absolutely wonderful to have. So we'll get it just lined up here, right where I want it. Let's see, that looks pretty dang close. So there's that. Got that side knocked out, pretty freaking close. And then we'll go ahead and do our front side here. There we go. And just so I don't forget, because I tend to do that very easily, all right, now I'm ready to clean this thing up and make the panel accept my new piece. Okay, got her all tacked in. Like I said, I probably won't weld this side yet, so I want to leave that open, a little leeway for this guy here. So now that I got this tacked in, probably get me another spot in right there. Leave it alone. I left the bottom a little bit long because I got to make a piece to fold and roll under anyway. So it's always better to be a little bit long than be too short on sheet metal's case, so you can always cut off. So go ahead and get me another spot in there, and then start modifying this piece to work where I want it over here. Okay, I kind of got it sitting in place. Not exactly where it's going to be, but I just kind of got it chilling so you guys can see it. Obviously that big gap won't be there, and this will be pushed up where it needs to be. But essentially that's what it's going to look like. And then I can come down here and make my lower piece, weld it in and shape it up, and it should be good. So I'll go ahead and get this thing fit up just a little bit better, and we'll tack it in place just like that, and then show you guys the finished result. All right, there she is sitting in place. Pretty stoked. Don't mind that little random tack on the radius. I forgot to turn my welding helmet on and kind of blinded myself for a second, and yeah. So anyway, got the thing tacked in place. Now we're ready to basically trim this thing at the bottom, make my flat section, weld it up, round it out, finish weld all this, smooth it out, and test fit it. Which actually the smart thing would be to do is test fit it right now, and we'll see where we're at. All right guys, got her tossed up in there, and test fit was a great success. Clear as perfect. So we'll go ahead and make our little lower piece there, and weld everything up, smooth it out, and get it prepped and ready for paint. All right guys, as you saw, the test fit was great. So I got my little strip made for the flange. And as you can tell, it's a little bit big, but what I'll do is tack this thing in place, and then I can literally just go right back and nib that edge off with the 90 degree with the pad on it. So we'll go ahead and clean the edges up on this thing and get her tacked in. All right, there it is, all tacked in. And once I get my beads all the way ran across, I'll probably do a fillet weld on the back side so I can keep radius in it and match this as close as I can get it. But overall, I think this thing's gonna look pretty factory. Pretty stoked. So we'll go ahead and finish weld this thing out and hopefully be done with it. All right guys, got her all welded in. Haven't cleaned it up just yet. I did those fillets on the back side, so that way when I shape this radius, I have plenty of material. So we'll go ahead and get to cleaning all this up. All right guys, there's a finished product. So should look good sitting underneath there. Pretty happy with it. So I'll go ahead and finish getting this thing prepped and get some paint on it. All right, just hung this thing up. It's not gonna be gloss black. I literally just sprayed it. So it'll be semi-gloss like the underneath side. So once I get it bolted back up underneath, we'll show you the finished product. All right, guys, there it is all installed. Got her painted up, got her bolted in, even got the original clutch head screws on each side, and looks pretty good. Matched up with the hose, clears it perfect, shuts and latches and opens real nice, and no witness marks on the hose, so I know it's not hitting. So we are definitely good to go. So not bad. So if you guys ever run into this, that's something you can do if you want to run this style, which, you know, everyone has their own way of doing it. Or if they would have just changed radiators and got different hoses, or, you know, any of the other avenues you can go down. But for us, this worked best. Didn't take me very long and looks clean, and he's able to run the hoses and the aluminum radiator he already has. So, well, that one's done and dusted, so we'll call it good on that. All right, guys, that's gonna do it for this one. I totally spaced filming an outro after I got all the engines over here to the garage on Sunday. So that's me doing it now in the future. I've already got another video started for the 428 that will be going in the 55, and need to go get some material for the engine mounts, but that'll be for the next video. I'm also gonna film going to a pretty cool car show, so I might film that and put something together. So we'll see what happens there. But anyway, that's gonna be it. So remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.